Hey everyone, welcome to Afterwards. I'm going to chat about episode 5 of Heroes of the Fanged Coast. So again, I started off by drawing this map. I had the idea for let's do sort of the opposite of an adventure, where it's all setting rather than like let's start with some ambience and some setting. Let's do the reverse of that, which is it's all ambience. There's no combat. There's no puzzles. There's no boss, there's no treasure. It's just the dungeon. It's sort of like high concept dungeon for dungeon's sake. And additionally, I decided to do a town as a dungeon. So Coast Pass was kind of a unique way to do that because it's a very thin town, which sort of means we can kind of go linearly through that. It's not quite so sprawling because you have the ocean on one side and the mountains on the other. And additionally, this is sort of a payoff to a setup a few episodes back where Christine had to pull out in order to feed the people at Cromer to feed Tom Burt's Crusade. She had to pull an extra food out of Coast Pass, which basically allows it to continue to live its opulent lifestyle and operate its resort. So when they're lacking money, the story is that the people sort of turned to maybe looking for some extra means to like get some funds to keep their economy going, and unfortunately that led them to opening up Pasner's Tomb. What exactly happened to them afterwards, I will keep. I'll keep till a later date, but I'll give you the hint that the best way to figure out exactly what that is there's some clues as far as what my different traps were. If you look in the Dungeon Master's Guide, that might give you a pretty good hint of what's going on if you're a careful reader. So then what I did was I sort of looked at this map and I separated it into zones, sort of mimicking rooms of a dungeon. So rather than a room being each individual house, a room could be like this pathway coming out of the city, or this town square, or the entrance to this area. And then I labeled all of them, and then I just wrote myself a few notes, for the description of each area. So like for A1, I have, it's a strong portcullis, it's a DC 20 strength check. So obviously they found different ways around it. So most of these notes were kind of useless. They're like A5, Pine Coast Road, empty, or what kind of things they would find in each of it. A16, the Square of Fates. There's statues to Nara, Dika, and Meta. And then I listed how many gold pieces were on the ground. There was a gold locket with a portrait of a woman inside, which they never found. Which again wouldn't have changed the adventure at all. Because literally the whole point of this was to set a tone, set a real creepy tone. And the fog did that, and I was very careful to tell everyone all of the rules, like this is what fog does, to sort of put them on edge to the idea of, okay, when we get to combat, I'm going to have to contend with this. Even though they never did, that's still in the back of their minds, like, okay, I'm going to have disadvantage on perception checks, which rely on sight, which I guess I didn't have them do too often, but usually they weren't looking at anything too far down the way. So yeah, a lot of fun checks today. Kind of everyone got their little moments to shine, which I always love when everyone sort of gets their chance to do their thing. That's really important in dungeon design, to remember to give everyone sort of an opportunity to do their thing. And if so I was planning on having the gates get picked with lock picks, so when Golgana bashes it through, I got to remember, okay, I owe Ka a moment where he can use an investigate check or something to discover a piece of information. Other than that, I had a lot of fun doing this episode and keeping the creepy tone. I'm very excited to move on to the next one, which will be our last episode for Heroes of the Fanged Coast. And I'm going to sort of use it as a setup for a campaign later down the line, not the one coming up, for reasons that will be explained soon. But sort of the one after that, I'm starting to set up, actually with this session as well, I'm starting to set up elements that I'm going to bring back for that arc. And sort of start to build that so it's not a surprise when we get to it later. So you'll just have to wait and see exactly what those are. But I thank you very much for watching. If you have questions to me, go ahead and tweet them at me. I'm at SJWardle. or feel free to comment down here. I'm pretty good about checking the comments when you guys have questions, or come on over to our subreddit where I love to discuss this stuff. And I try to be pretty good about responding to good comments, especially asking questions about maybe why I made a particular choice, especially within game design. I love to help with that kind of stuff. So please contact us, and I will see you on Monday for episode 6, our last episode of Threshold: Heroes of the Fanged Coast. I'm very excited. It's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be very different than this one. So I will see you then. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on Monday.